Dishonored 2. People, this is the game that Bethesda dropped on stage that had everybody cheering. Harvey Smith is the creative director. I'm here, I'm touching him. That's how cool this is. This meeting is so insane. Firstly, I want to talk about Emily. You had multiple, spoiler alert, there are multiple endings to the first game. How did you guys try to amalgamate them for the next one?
Yeah, so people always ask, do we pick up a save game from the previous game? We don't. We just decided which endings were canon. And I guess the most important thing is that Emily survived. Other than that, things don't matter as much because 15 years have passed. So if you did one thing or the other thing, it's not so relevant to the new game. Wherever it is relevant, we might have made a decision or two. We tend to like the non-lethal poetic justice outcomes. They're more interesting.
You have a whole bunch of new game mechanics in here that you showed off on stage that actually seem to be inspired by like indie games in many ways. They're just so creative in their execution, like being able to look through time and be able to manipulate that. Can you name a couple of them and just go through how they function?
Yeah, so Emily has her own powers. Like Corvo's powers from the first game are back if you play Corvo, and they've all been upgraded and extended. So for Corvo is like the nostalgia playthrough. But if you play Emily, all of her powers are new. So she has Mesmerize, Domino, Far Reach, Shadow Walk. In some of the videos we showed, you see things like those, like Domino, where you can link several people and they all share the same fate. So let's say you link 4 guards and you set one of them on fire, they all burn. So it's really crazy. It's mental the way people put together combinations with the powers.
What challenges did you have when putting those kind of wild game mechanics in, like throwing that kind of stuff out to a player? Like obviously there's some variables that you might not have expected. What have you come across?
So our philosophy often is if the player can come up with something creative to do with that, we just keep it in the game. Really good example. Our lead designer Dinga Bakaba was doing a playthrough one day, and there was a firing squad where some overseers, the religious fanatics, were about to execute some heretics. And Dinga normally he just uses Far Reach to pull the guy out of the scene and choke him out, but he had the inspiration to like link the guy shooting and the guy in front of the firing squad together with Domino. And so when the guy pulled the trigger, he not only killed the heretic, but it killed him as well. And we had no idea it would work, it just like works. So.
That is so dope! That is so dope. Now, the art direction for the new world, the city that you're in, is stunning. It's far more light, it's far more colorful. I can see a little bit of Terry Pratchett in there. Like, let me know what inspired it.
Yeah, so our art director, Sebastian Mitton, is also the art director of the first game, and we really wanted the game to look like a painting in motion, and a lot of his inspirations go back to the classics. He's not a modern guy so much as he's a classic guy, and the artists at Arcane are just incredible, and they probably looked at the Amalfi Coast and Cuba, some of the faded painted walls, colored walls in Cuba, and the roof shapes in various places like Spain or Italy. It's different than Dunwall. Dunwall is more A-frames and more gray. It's more like London, so we wanted to differentiate the two.
Going back to the core of what attracted a lot of people was the steampunk aesthetic. Like how you guys incorporated steampunk in new ways that we aren't familiar with.
Yeah, so because Karnaka has this mountain over it called Shendere Peak with a cleft in it, it has wind. And so there's a lot of wind channeling down, so we put big windmills on the rooftops, and therefore some of the security devices like the arc pylon or the wall of light are powered by wind. And so in order to shut them down, instead of taking a whale oil tank out, you sometimes have to find a way to get up on the roof, climb up onto a platform in the wind, and turn off the windmill so it shuts off. So it's just one example, but we have this like 1850s feel to the technology, except in our fiction it's based on whale oil.
Having a woman protagonist, have you had any challenges with that from the community? I think it's a very cool and exciting thing, and something that we need to be doing more in video games. What challenges have you had, and was that a long thought process to have, or was it just very natural?
Yeah, for us, Emily has been a source of enormous positivity. There are people that want to see Corvo back for nostalgia reasons, but everybody's been very supportive of Emily, and I think one of the reasons for that is that we take her very seriously as a character. Her pillars conceptually are Empress, Assassin, and Dunwall. So you can look at everything about her. Her clothing is very fine, it's very tailored, and because she's an Empress, she has people making clothes for her. She's presented, though, the important part is she's presented as a cool, aspirational character. If you were a young girl looking for like icons in the world, you might like Iron Man, or you might like Elizabeth Warren. You might look out across the landscape and see people that you might want to be like someday. And we just wanted to give her a strong real presence as a character, right? So Emily is not meant to be viewed from the male gaze as a figure of attraction. She's not played, she's not Corvo with gender-swapped Corvo. That's the way. But she's not Corvo with a woman's body. She is a real character unto herself that you can look at and you can think she's cool. I would like to be like her. So that's the key, I think.
Dope. Super hype. Guys, when can we expect to play Dishonored?
Yeah, so Dishonored 2 is November 11th, 2016.
Can't wait! It's this year, people! There's so many great games coming out this year. Guys, if you like this video, please smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe. What do you want to see in Dishonored 2? What are you most excited about? Drop that in the comments below. I'll see you guys in the next video. High five a stranger. Adios!